Welcome back once again to the Imaginary Gallery. It is TJ, your host, and we are discussing the mythology of abuse. Well, we're now on myth number 2. He had a previous partner who mistreated him awfully, and now he's got a problem with all women or men as a result. He's a great man, and that witch made him get like this. Now, as we saw with Fran in a previous video, an abuser's bitter tale of emotional destruction by a past partner can have a powerful impact on the current partner. In the most common version of this scenario, the man recounts how the ex-partner broke his little heart by cheating on him, perhaps with several different men. If you ask him how he found out, the answer will be something like,
"Everybody knew about it. My friends told me."
He also may say,
"I caught her red-handed myself, cheating."
But when you press him on what he actually saw, many times it turns out that he saw nothing, or he saw her talking to some other person or riding in this person's car late at night. So I could tell. Now, he may describe other wounds he had gotten from a previous partner. Maybe she was controlling and tried to control every move he made. Maybe she wouldn't let him have any kind of freedom. Or maybe she just expected for him to wait upon her hand and foot. She turned the kids against him. She even had him get arrested out of vindictiveness. What he's describing usually are, as I've said before, his own behaviors, but he attributes them to the ex-partner so that he can be the victim. He can get sympathy from the new partner in this fashion, especially because so many women that the author knows, they know what it's like to be abused, unfortunately, so they can connect with his fake distress. The abusive or controlling person can draw a rich set of excuses from past relationships for controlling the current partner's friendships and accusing her or him of cheating. They can say,
"Oh, it's because my ex-partner hurt me so badly by cheating so many times. That's why I'm jealous and I can't trust you."
For throwing a temper tantrum when she asks him to clean up after himself.
"My ex controlled my every move, and it makes me feel furious when you're doing this and telling me what to do."
For having affairs of his own or keeping other love interests going on the side.
"Oh, I got so hurt last time that now I'm really afraid to commit. So I want to keep on having involvements with other people to have all bases covered."
He can craft an excuse to fit any of his controlling behaviors. The author recommends applying the following principle to assertions that an angry or controlling person makes about evil exes in their life from the past. If it's an excuse for mistreating you, then it's a distortion. A man who was genuinely mistreated in a relationship with another person would not be using that experience to get away with hurting you. Consider the reverse situation for a moment. Have you ever heard of a lady claiming that the reason why she chronically mistreats her male partner is because a previous man abused her? Author has never run into this excuse in the 15 years he'd worked in the field of abuse. Certainly, he's encountered cases where ladies had trouble trusting another man after leaving an abusive one, but there's a critical distinction to be made. Her past experiences may explain how she feels, but they are not an excuse for how she chooses to behave. The same is true for a man. For his cruel or controlling behaviors in the present day, when a client of the author's blames a past relationship, the author jumps in with several questions. Did your ex-partner say ever she felt controlled or intimidated by you? What was her side of the story? Did you ever put your hands on her in any type of anger? Or did she ever have to get a restraining order against you? By the time he's finished providing his answers, the author usually can tell what really happened. He abused that lady also. It is fine to commiserate with a man about his bad experience with a previous partner, but the moment he uses her or him as an excuse to mistreat You stop believing anything the person tells you about that relationship and instead recognize it as a great big red flag that he's got problems relating with members of whatever gender you are. Track down the ex-partner. Talk with him or her as soon as possible, even if you hate the person. An abusive person can mistreat partner after partner in relationships, each time believing that the problems are all the other person's fault. Imagine that. And that he is the real victim. Whether he presents himself as the victim of an ex-partner or of his parents, the abuser's aim, even though it may be unconscious, is to play on your compassion so that he or she can avoid dealing with his or her problem. We're now on myth number 3. We're still reading from Lundy Bancroft's book, Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men. We're on myth number 3. He's abusive because he feels so strongly for me. People cause those they care about most deeply the most pain. Excuses like this come up frequently in this guy's groups for abusive men. The clients will say,
"Nobody else gets me upset like she does. I just go out of my mind sometimes because I have such strong feelings for her. The things she does just hurt me so much, and nobody else can get under my skin like that."
Now, abusers can use this rationalization successfully with partners, with friends, and with relatives. There's a grain of truth to it. People we love can cause us deeper pain than anybody else. But what does this have to do with abuse? The abuser would like us to accept the following simple but erroneous formula. Feelings cause behavior. When others feel hurt, they lash out at someone else in retaliation. If they feel jealous, they become possessive and accusatory. When they feel controlled, they yell and threaten, right? Wrong! Each human being deals with hurt or resentment in a unique way. When you feel bullied or insulted, you may reach for a chocolate bar. In the same circumstance, I might burst into tears. Another person may put his or her feelings quickly into words, confronting the mistreatment directly and how we perceive the entire world. Even though our feelings can influence how we wish to act, our choices of how to behave are ultimately determined more by our attitudes and our habits. We respond to our emotional wounds based upon what we believe about ourselves, how we think about the other person who's hurt us. Only in people who are severely traumatized or who have major mental illness is behavior governed by feelings. And only a tiny percentage of abusive men have these kinds of severe psychological problems. There are other reasons not to accept the love causes abuse excuse. First of all, many people reserve their best behavior and kindest treatment for their loved ones, including partners. Should we accept the idea that these people feel love less strongly or don't have as much passion than an abuser does? Nonsense! Outside of the author's professional life, he's known many couples over the years who had passion and electricity between them and who treated each other so well. Unfortunately, there is a wide acceptance in the society of the unhealthy notion that passion and aggression are interwoven and that cruel, verbal, evil exchanges and bomb-like explosions are the price you pay for a relationship that's exciting, sexy, and deep. Popular romantic movies and soap operas sometimes reinforce this fake image. Most abusive people have close relationships with people other than their wives or girlfriends or boyfriends or husbands. This guy's clients may feel deep fondness for one or both of their parents, a sibling, a good friend, an aunt, and an uncle. Do they abuse their other loved ones? Rarely. It isn't the love or deep affection that causes his or her behavior problem.
You'll never, ever find anyone as wonderful as I am.
please, do not remind me about the evening that you innocently called me and asked if I would join you to a nice, quiet dinner for two. And I told you that I didn't feel well. I was sick and going to bed, only to discover that you happened to go onto social media and saw me with my brand new, beautiful hairdo at the very party I didn't want you to know about, laughing and having fun. Oh, that was one of the worst. You had the nerve to spy on me and see that I was at a party rather than being in bed like I claimed the next morning. I don't know what went on last night. I was in bed all night. And you saw those pictures on the social media. You have no idea what it took for me to make up that story that somebody happened to steal my image to superimpose it on the image of the real people at that party, because I wasn't there. I was in bed. Well, that's what you need to know. But I hate modern technology. It's destroying my secrets and my life.
I know when we first started going out, hanging out together, I thought I had you convinced that I didn't know any guys in the city because I'd been away for so long, even though I'd lived here for several months. And you bought it.
I remember one particular night when we were out at one of your nightclubs that I'd never been to. Well, maybe I had a few years ago, but not lately. And we happened to run into one of my old friends. Surprise, surprise, which was such a coincidence, because you went up to that friend and supposedly asked him if you were making a mistake by being around me. And he had told you some kind of nasty stuff. I'll never know what he actually said. He basically tried to steer you away from me. And when you had told me this, I just said, he has a crush on me. He was jealous because I was with you. He didn't want me to be happy with you. He's a troublemaker. And you bought it, of course. Well, honey, that's a lie, since I'm giving confessions.
He was one that I used to date.
While I was dating his roommate. And of course, his roommate didn't know.
So now do you understand why I couldn't tell you?
I couldn't explain why he said that. I know you asked, why would he say such a thing? Well, I thought my answer was pretty good. He had a crush on me, and he wasn't going to have me. And you should be proud that you do have me. And we made love afterwards, so as far as I'm concerned, it worked.
I am the narcissist. Just say yes to Monarch, MK Ultra, mind control. It'll make your day.
You'll never be as beautiful as I am.